I've heard a lot of men talk about how they already passed their peak after 30. I honestly believe that men don't peak until after 40. So from 40 to 50, even 50 to 60 is where I believe men in general peak, as long as they don't think that they've peaked already. A lot of people say high school is your peak years, or your 20s or your peak years. If you start to believe that you already peaked, that you peaked in high school or you peaked in your 20s, is it really going to be that easy to keep going if you already think you passed your peak?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about right there.
So they can see it. But go ahead, keep going. We're listening.
So, I'll tell you, it's funny is when I was writing the essay where I put that out there, I was like, this is like kind of instinctive to me. And then a lot of people ran me up the flagpole for putting this one out there. And then over the course of the last, say, like almost 10 years now, there's been so many data sets and so much research that backs this up. And I almost get chills thinking how accurate it was when I was writing it. But where I peg women as far as their peak sexual market value is right around 22 or 23 years old. That's when men find women the most attractive across the board.
23, 24.
23,
okay.
24, right around there. So 15 all the way up to 95, that's the age at which men find women the most attractive. For women finding men attractive, it staggers. So statistically speaking, women find men 3 to 7 years older than they are as more attractive. Now, when men get to be about 36 years old is when I peg them at being at their sexual market value peak, because that is assuming the man makes the most of his potential, is, developing himself, becoming something, lives up to his burden of performance, let's just say. At 36 to 37, somewhere in there, that's when he starts hitting his stride. That's the point at which he has the potential to have the most of what makes him the most attractive to women overall. So if you stay on your game, you're working out, and you're on top of your business, and you are on, you have ambition, you have confidence, a lot of that takes a lot longer for men to develop than it does for women to get to their point of sexual, marketability.
And this is another area of disagreement with us, is that I've heard you say in a couple of TikToks that you believe that men peak in their late 30s.
Yeah, I would say that there are a lot of guys that I know that have reached their sexual market peak, 37, 38, 39, 40. I mean, I know a guy that's 42 that's just, he's insane. Like, he's got really good genetics. He's loaded.
It's just the cold reality of it. A lot of these guys in the red pill space, they're in their late 20s, they're in their early 30s, right? And they haven't really succeeded with women yet. And so they're telling themselves this story. I'm not saying you're doing this. You're obviously, at a different stage in life, but they're telling themselves the story. Oh, the best days are yet to come. The best days are yet to come. And it's like, mate, the best days already passed you by. If you look at when women peak in terms of you would say their sexual market value, I would say mate value. I would say that a variety of evidence converges on it being in their 20s. Not going off of what people say. It's just, when do men compete most intensely over mates, right? And it's over that group of mates. It's women in their 20s, right? I'm not saying that this is how I want the world to be, right? I'm just saying, from a cold, apathetic reading of the data, this is when female mate value or women's mate value seems to peak in our species. Who do these women select? These are the women with the most selective power. They can choose whoever they want to be with. Who do they select? They select other men in their 20s. When they're going on a dating app.
And Donovan Sharp. I'm actually doing something a little different today. It is, I think it's like, as you guys can see, I'm looking extremely raggedy. I've got all my grays going in. My beard isn't trimmed up. It's all, my hair is too long. I guess I can do it here. Man, dude, it is really difficult to do that in the, let you guys see. I'm gonna dye the beard. I always start right here.
Another study based on 132,000 Israelis concluded that the offsprings of men 40 years or older were 5.7 times more likely to have autism compared with offsprings of men younger than 30 years of age, after controlling for year of birth, socioeconomic status, and maternal age. Then there's Dr. Gloria Buckman of Rutgers University, who conducted a study which reviewed 40 years of research on the effect of paternal age on fertility, pregnancy, and the health of children, and found that men 45 years or older can experience decreased fertility and put their partners at risk for increased pregnancy complications, such as gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, and preterm birth. Infants born to older fathers were also found to be at higher risk of premature birth, late stillbirth, low APGAR scores, low birth weight, higher incidence of newborn seizures and birth defects, such as congenital heart disease and cleft palate. As they matured, these children were found to have an increased likelihood of childhood cancers, psychiatric and cognitive disorders, and as stated earlier, autism. And please keep in mind that this study also found that older men struggled with fertility issues even if their partner was under 25 years of age. And so given all of this data, it's important to understand that as men age, they too hit a wall when it comes to conception that may in turn have negative effects on the potential newborn.
This is an interesting question. He says, what about a man's evolutionary role to spread our genes? Can it hit us in our 50s analogous to the wall that hit women in their 30s? Interesting question. What do you think?
Interesting. I mean, I think for men, we're still able to procreate. Now, there's still some science coming out now that'll say, well, old jizz is contributing to, I believe, I can't remember if it was
autism or whatever.
Autism, one of these disorders now that are very prevalent. They're not looking at vaccines causing it. They're trying to say men are causing it. Older men dating younger women. They're trying to put it back on our boat. But the reality is there's men who are 70 that can still spread their seed.
That's right.
Women can't. They hit the biological wall. And for men, if you disregard the science, the new science related to old jizz causing dysfunction in children, if you disregard the science.
No, you need to deal with the data and then come back to me. That's what you need to do.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about the age pill. Now, this video is probably going to be an extremely important video. We're going to be diving deep into every aspect of the age pill. And I wish I had this video years ago, even at 25, I wish I had a video to listen to like this. And, listen closely, really pay attention to this video, watch this video 3 times if you have to. And I personally think that this video is one of the best videos on this topic on the internet, period. So it's going to be a longer video. So buckle up, watch the whole video, listen to it. And as always, I'm going to be spitting straight from the Elder Scrolls today. I'm going to be spitting that hot fire straight from the Elder Scrolls, just like always. And, a lot of guys often ask me about the age, aging and the age pill. A lot of guys seem very interested or kind of fascinated by the age pill. And recently, I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 in January. Recently, the age pill has began to catch up with me. And, in my early 20s, I was actually starting to bald. My hairline was starting to recede in the corners and the crown area. And so I've been on minoxidil for years. I've been on minoxidil for a long time, since my mid-20s, so like 5 years maybe. But recently my hair has been thinning faster than I can apply cans of minoxidil. It's really been serious. And I looked in the mirror one day and I compared a picture to a year or two ago, and I'm like, oh shit, this is I'm thinning. My hair has been falling out faster than Stacey Swipes left on a sub 5 from Bangladesh. I mean, it's real talk. So I've had to take drastic measures because my genetics want me bald. And, I'm 5'7". I just can't, my hair is really the only legit look smacks out there. If you talk about look smacks, hair is really the only real look smacks that makes a drastic difference. You can do skincare and all that stuff. That's fine. But really, it's hair. If you take a guy and you take a bald guy and give him a hair transplant, he's going to look completely different than he does bald. It's rare that people look good bald. There's some people who actually can pull it off, like your Jason Strathams and all those people. There's The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. There's some people who can pull off the bald, Michael Jordan, who can pull off the bald look. But most guys, especially if you're short, it's a death sentence, if you go bald. So My genetics want me bald. You know, like I said, I looked up one day and my hairline has really been thinning, you know, and it's been going faster and faster. You know, time, this really got me thinking about time, and that time takes no prisoners, you know, and this video isn't to make people afraid of aging. I think the only people who really get upset at aging are people who didn't really enjoy their youth. Those are the people who want to cling and hold on to youth. Typically are people who didn't really quite enjoy their youth, or they feel that there was something that they missed out on. These are the people who typically worry about aging the most. You know, it doesn't mean that you just get old overnight. It's a very gradual thing, but I'm just noticing that things are just starting to, you know, the age pill is starting to kind of hit. You know, things are starting to change in my body. I'm noticing like little changes, just things that are changing as you get older, you know, and your mortality starts to hit you, and you're just kind of like, damn, like life is really moving, you know. Like my 20s, it seemed like I would never turn 30, you know, and here I am about to turn 32, you know, my hair's falling out. I'm noticing like little things like age wise start to catch up with me. It's interesting, you know, and I'm only 32. Like, I'm not saying I'm some old, you know, I'm not 60, you know, 32 is still relatively young, but around 30s is the time where you start to notice aspects of the age pill. Some people earlier, but the good news is that, you know, you don't suddenly just get old from one day to the next. It's a gradual process. And I think this is why you see people who get hit brutally by the age pill, because it's so gradual. The age pill and aging it's not just about looks either. It's deeper than just looks. You know, most brain dead teenagers on the internet, they just assume that aging is about your looks. I can just look young, bro. See, aging out of your prime is more about psychological and sociocultural changes than it is about your looks. Now, it is about looks as well, don't get me wrong, but aging cuts much deeper than the surface. It's more about the psychological clock and the social clock that I often mention. You know, one of the most important things about aging, and to never forget this, is that your brain still ages. You know, a lot of guys, oh, I still look young, but it's not about just looking young. It's about the different life phases and the different chapters you are in life. If you don't accomplish and do certain things in certain chapters of your life, those things will just pass you by. The red pill often tell men to just, you know, sacrifice your 20s, sacrifice your youth. It gets better in your 30s. It's only uphill after 35, bro. You don't peak until your late 30s. And, you know, you can get all the experience later on in life. And this is a lie. You know, this is a dangerous way to have men think, because, you know, while you should think about your future, you should think about your career, financially, etc., in your 20s. Remember, life works in chapters and sequences. It doesn't work where you could just reverse the clock and go back and make up for lost time. Unfortunately, lost time is truly never found again. Truly, you know, experiencing things that you should have experienced in your youth, experiencing those things later in life just don't hit the same. You know, you don't experience the same growth and change of experiencing certain things at certain times in your life. You know, experiences are largely, and never forget this, experiences are largely shaped by the timing of the experience and the context of your life at that point in time. And research actually proves this. You know, there's evidence that shows that the same life event does not invoke the same experience across lifespan. Each transitional experience is an opportunity for individual growth and change. But the parameters of those opportunities are shaped in part by timing of the event in our lives, you know? So this is research. Research shows us that the timing of experiences is what causes growth and change depending on your age and the time period of your life. This is why you can't just go back and, just go back after, you know, once you turn 35, bro, just go back and date women who are in their early 20s. It doesn't work that way. You know, your brain is changing, your psychology is changing, you know, and, you know, one of the most brutal aspects of aging is what I call the time perception pill. And you might say, what is a time perception pill? You know, imagine you live until, let's just say you live until 80 years old, right? Then you might say, well, in that case, the middle part of your life is 40 years old, right? Like 40 would be the halfway point from 80. This sounds right, but in reality, it is 40 is half of 80, but psychologically it's not. And this is the brutality of the time perception pill. The more you age, the faster time goes by in your psychological perception. You know, when you're 8 years old, 1 year feels like a very, very long time. You know, I remember back in middle school and elementary school, how like summer vacation felt like 3 years. I'm sure some of you guys can relate. Like I remember summer vacation felt like years, you know, but nowadays, I mean, summer feels like shit, a couple hours. And the next thing you know, it's fall, it's snowing again, you know? This is why it often feels like, oh, I was just 20 yesterday. You know, when you talk to people who are 60, who are retiring, they often say like, you know, if yesterday it felt like I was 20, you know, it just felt like I turned 20 yesterday. This is the brutality of the time perception pill. Time gets crunched as you get older, as life speeds up. Life comes at you fast. Responsibilities start to add up. You know, especially if you want a family and a wife and kids, your early 30s is the time to start doing that. You know, not after 30, not 40. You know, yeah, you can wait, but really your early 30s is the time you want to start getting serious about family, finding a partner, finding a good mate, and starting a family. You know, that's the time. But your youth relatively ends around 25. That's really about the end of youth. And from a definition wise, actually defined psychological definition, early adulthood / youth ends at about 25. And most men on average, I said this before, but most men on average, and I'll back this up with research in a second. Most men on average will peak in their late 20s, from about 25 to 30, maybe early 30s for some people, but for the most part, on average, most guys will, in terms of physical attractiveness, look their best in their late 20s, from 25 to 30. Now your financial peak, your career peak, of course that comes later with time, but we're talking about from a biological, purely attraction standpoint. But after the age of like 30, it's pretty much a slow, gradual decline. You know, even if you take care of yourself, you're still going to have a decline. Make no mistake. You know, you will look, and what I mean by that is that not that you will just suddenly look ugly, because it's a gradual process. But the point is that you will probably look worse at 35 than you did at 27, considering you're still doing the same lifestyle habits. You know, like maybe going to the gym, skincare, diet, etc. If you're doing those same things, then you're going to look you're more than likely going to look worse at 37 than you did at 25. Not ugly or not, you know, just you're not going to all of a sudden fall off, but you're not going to look as good. That's simply what I mean by there's a slow and gradual decline. You know, the people who age like fine wine, there's often talk about, oh, you know, men age like fine wine. The only men who really age like fine wine are men who are already genuinely attractive. I'm not talking about your average guy who only looks good because he's still young. You know, like a lot of guys, I feel like most people are still hanging on to their youth. That's really the only pillar that's holding them up. If you look at the average Hollywood actor, most people, they're only held up by youth, you know, and of course, red pillars and copers like to point out, oh, look at Brad Pitt. Yeah, Brad Pitt has like elite bone structure. He's already genuinely a Chad, you know, genuinely a Tyrone, genuinely a Tab. I'm talking about genuine people who have the bone structure, not somebody who looks max and they have to get the perfect haircut in order to look good. I'm not talking about that type shit. I'm talking about genuinely attractive people who bone structure, no matter what haircut they have, they still look fly, you know? And this is why Brad Pitt and people like that, they age really well, because they already have the elite bone structure, the elite genetics already. Of course, Cobras only point out the top 1% and like, oh, look at Brad Pitt, bro. Look at you know, Kevin Hart is 5'4". He still made it. Cobras are funny, man. They'll come up with they'll find anything to grasp onto, to hold on to hope and the delusion, the false hope. But the truth is that many guys are living off youth. You know, youth is really that last pillar that the average guy is holding on to hold on to his average, slightly above average look. Once that pillar gets knocked over, the truth gets revealed. You know, this is why aging is so brutal for most guys, because the truth, it reveals your flaws with time. You can't just cover up your flaws with youth. You know, your hair starts to thin, especially guys who don't get on like finasteride or minoxidil. Your hair starts to thin, and time comes at you fast, and no amount of looks maxing will save you. And you know, most guys are average and slightly above average, thinking that they're gonna age like fine wine, because like, oh, look at Brad Pitt, bro. Oh, my family has good aging genes and genetics, bro. My dad and my mom has good aging genetics, bro. Everybody says that. Literally everybody says that. Oh, my family has good aging genetics. But so I guess nobody's going to get old, huh? Nobody's going to look older, you know? And it's not to say that you can't look good for your age. The point is that you are aging. That's the point. Everybody says that, oh, my family has good aging genetics, bro. I think I'll be okay. But for most men, it comes down to bone. See, as you get older as a guy, if you don't have the genetics, the genuine genetics as being an attractive male, the bone structure, you will look worse with time, because you're the only thing holding you up is a full head of hair and a baby face. You know, kind of like that youth, pretty boy kind of young look. But as you get older, that goes away. So if you don't already have elite bone structure, you are going to look worse. You know, if you are a mogger in your youth, and if dating has always been a struggle for you, what makes you think that it's going to get better because you got older? Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can simp and beta bucks. That's fine. And again, if you want to simp and beta bucks, that's fine. I mean, as long as you understand the consequences that come with beta bucks and simping, as long as you accept that why this woman is with you and the reasons why, as long as you're honest about it, hey, have at it, you know. But my thing is, don't be delusional. Don't be a delusional coper about it. You know, just take care of yourself, bro. Just take care of yourself. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't necessarily work like that, you know. But don't just take my word for it. Let's actually look at research. We often hear that men get more attractive as they age, but when it comes to physical attractiveness, specifically your facial features, the evidence does not support this idea. Men's physical attractiveness tends to peak in their mid-20s. Research like Fools and Clark 2011 consistently finds that men in their 20s, and I'll show this on the screen so you can do your own homework, particularly around the age of 25 is where most men start to gradually have a decline, you know. And and the research has found that women particularly rate men around the age of 25 as the most attractive, largely because youth is associated with key markers of attractiveness, like facial symmetry, smooth skin, and a strong jawline. And if you don't believe me, if that's not enough, in another study done by Buss and Schmidt, 1993, women consistently preferred men around the ages of 25 to 30. And this is women in their 20s. The sample pool, women in their 20s, early 30s, they're in their 20s, which is the most desired age range that men want. Most men want women at least in their 20s or late 20s, early 20s, but most guys want early 20s. This is what red pillars and cobras are talking about. But the research shows that most women are consistently prefer men in their 20s who are between 25 and 30. And this goes with what I always told you guys. I've always told you guys that really the late 20s is your peak. And women's preference, and not see a lot of guys think that, oh, it's just men that prefer younger faces. No, it's women as well. Women's preference for younger male faces are evolutionarily linked to perceptions of health and reproductive potential, making younger men more desirable based on physical appearance alone. And this is research. This isn't me just pulling shit out my ass. You know, one of the other aspects about aging is that as you age, your facial symmetry starts to decline as well. And this is scientifically proven by research. Facial symmetry is one of the most important significant factors when it comes to physical attractiveness, but it doesn't stay consistent throughout life. Contrary to popular belief, your bone structure and your facial symmetry does not stay consistent throughout life. Bone loss begins as early as the late 20s and continues into the 30s. The process is called bone resorption. The bones in the face, particularly around the cheeks and jawline, start to shrink, causing changes in facial proportions that make men appear less symmetrical. You know, now if you already have fantastic bone structure, this isn't going to really affect you much because you already have fantastic bone structure. So slight changes won't mess you up that much. But people who are, you know, the average, slightly above average guys who are hanging on by a thread, you know, a couple of inches of bone, a couple of millimeters of bones, a couple of changes, and now you look older, you know, just because your bone structure changes. And research actually shows that people can detect age based off of bone structure and features. You know, your ears, your nose, those things continue to grow as you get older. So your nose get bigger, your ears get bigger, certain features get bigger, that make you look older. So you can actually tell someone's age by looking at their facial features. Now, obviously, for women, they can wear makeup and stuff like that, so it's hard to tell. This explains why a lot of people don't look as good as they age, even though they might look good for their age, they might look young for their age. This explains why most people they don't look as good, because those changes in the facial structure as you get older, accompanied by changes in your skin, etc. Now, you can do skincare and keep your hair, but your body and your face is still changing as you age, you know. And sometimes for lucky people, this can actually help some people look better. Ironically, some people can actually look better by the changes as they get older, but that's an exception to the rule. But as bone volume decreases, the face becomes less defined, and this loss of structure is particularly noticeable in the mid-face area, the cheeks and the eye sockets, and the jawline, both of which play a crucial role in male facial aesthetics. And this is all research, by the way. You know, also, like I said, your nose and your ears, science proves this. Your nose and your ears continues to grow and grow. And this is a toss-up whether this works out in your favor or not. You know, it can throw off your facial proportions. While you looked young and cute in your 20s, you know, now all of a sudden your nose is bigger. You just don't look as good. Your facial symmetry is a little bit off. And human eyes can detect this within 3 seconds. So it's not a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. This is why it's disingenuous when people say like, oh, I don't really care about looks. When women say I don't care about how a guy looks, that's cap, because it's subconscious. You can't control it. You know, we can't control that. That's a natural human thing. But this means that as you get older, features such as your nose and ears can become more pronounced and out of proportion with the rest of your face. You know, and obviously you can say, oh, I'm gonna get a nose job, I'm gonna get surgeries, but that's a toss-up. That's no guarantees that that's going to work out well for you. Studies like Sforza et al., and I'll link this as well, I'll pull this up on the screen, done in 2010, and also studies done by Roerich et al. 2007, highlight how facial proportions become less balanced after age 30. And this is a major factor in the visual effects of aging, not just about skin. And also, research shows that, you know, your skin your collagen, you lose more collagen, you lose more elasticity in your skin. You're also fat distribution and hollowing, so your fat distribution changes. You know, because even if you're lean, you could take somebody who's like 36, and even if they're relatively lean, their face still might look kind of puffy, you know, just because the fat distribution has changed. Your fat distribution, meaning that your face just might naturally look more puffier, you know, and there's nothing really you can do about it. You can't control where the fat goes. You can stay lean and you can do all those things, but there's no guarantees. It's a toss. Also, your testosterone lowers with age. And if that's the case, if nature intended men to get better with time, then why is it that testosterone? Why is it that things don't increase with age? Why is it that it decreases with age? It's because it's nature's way of saying that you don't get better with time, you know? Now, obviously, like I said, you can take care of yourself and those things will help you. But at the end of the day, the age pill catches up with everybody at some, especially for guys who are barely holding on to their looks, who are just barely holding on by a thread. And so you can imagine, you know, as men move into their 30s, the combined effects of bone loss, skin aging, and fat redistribution become increasingly apparent, you know. And while some people can say, oh, you know, all men can compensate, you can compensate for your looks by having a lot of money and status and wealth. And you know, the evidence suggests that this is true in some degree, but when it comes to purely physical attractiveness, which is the most important things when it comes to dating, reproduction, physical attractiveness, money and all that stuff. If you want to be a beta bucks and you want to, you know, have a woman get with you because you're the stable option, and not because she genuinely wants to be with you. She's willing to fly over heaven and hell to be with you. She's willing to cross the country, across the seas to be with you because she really, really, really likes you and wants to be with you. That only happens if a woman is just physically, genetically attracted to you. You're her guy. You're that dude for her, not because you're wealth and your money. Again, I want to reinforce that the decline is gradual. You know, it's not like you're just gonna, you know, 28, you look fine, and all of a sudden you turn 31 and you just look completely ugly and different. No, it doesn't work like that. But you notice the changes. You know, women in their early 20s will stop checking for you really once you hit in your 30s or your early 30s. You know, I'm not saying you can't get some women. There are some women in their early 20s who want older men. It's a preference thing, but on average, right, you're going to be dating women more within your age range. And research shows this. It proves this. I've shown this time and time again that most people typically date within their own immediate age range. And I'm okay with this. I'm okay dating women who are 28, 29. I'm 31, so I'm okay dating women who are 28, 29. I'm fine with that. Even a little bit older, a woman who's older than me, maybe she's 33. I'm fine with that. You know, as long as I get full cooperation, genuine desire, she looks good. I like to look at her. She's fine. I'm cool. I'm cool with it, right? But most men, if you look at the data, most men want women who are in their early 20s, who are young, you know, but like I said, even if you take care of yourself, how you age is largely based on genetics, you know. People often say, oh man, you just be low body fat percentage, bro. And the thing about low body fat percentage is that actually can make you look worse, especially as you get older, because it makes your skin look older when you're really, really hollow and you're really, really lean as an older guy. It can actually make you look a little bit older. And some people actually, ironically, some people look better with a little more body fat. So instead of being 10% body fat, you might actually look better at 15 or 16% body fat. I'm a good example. I actually don't look good when I'm very lean. It makes my face look more narrow, and like, because my bone structure is not that great, I don't have a really good strong mandible. So when I'm really lean, it reveals all that. So actually having a little bit of body fat can actually help you look better for a lot of guys. This is why I don't agree with it. Just be super lean. And a lot of that comes down to just your genetics. You know, you can't help unless you want to starve yourself. Like you're going to gain some weight as you get older. Like your body fat's going to go up a little bit. You can still stay in shape. You can still stay muscular, but your body's just going to change no matter what you do. It's largely up to genetics. You know, some people have really good lean genetics where they stay lean. It's easy for them to stay lean, you know? So I'm not arguing that there's not exceptions, but I'm speaking on average. Remember, I'm not talking directly to you. I don't know who you are. I don't know your genetics. I don't know anything about you. So I'm not talking to you. So don't get offended by anything I'm saying. I'm saying on average. You know, I can kind of understand why people's body fat levels start to kind of creep up on them as they get older, because as you get older, especially if you have a family, bro, you're not going to have time to be micromanaging your looks. You know, if you have a family, you're not going to have time to be worried about staying super lean year round. You know, when people have kids, they have family, new responsibilities, looks become a low priority for some people, you know. And this is why the older I get, the more I realize why some people, the age pill hits them is hard, because you got family, you got work, you're trying to do well in your career, you still are trying to accomplish your own goals. It gets hard. It's not that easy. Oh, I'll just take care of myself, bro. It's easy to say that when you're 22 and you haven't been hit by the realities of life. It's really not till about till about 30 where the age pill, you really start to notice the impacts of the age pill. You start to notice it creep up on you, know. And one of the things about getting older is that after a certain point in life, a certain age in life, you begin to drop all your illusions, and life actually becomes easier from there. I say, really? How, life becomes easier? Yes, in many ways, life actually can become easier as you age, because you start to drop all those illusions you had, all those false dreams, the illusions you had, the false hope. As you get older, you drop those things, and this actually makes life more peaceful. You stop striving for things that probably aren't even in the cards for you. You stop striving for things that don't really matter. You know, in your 20s, in your early 20s especially, you care about peer pressure, you care about social circles, all those things. But as you get older, you start to become more disillusioned, and with that becomes peace. Life becomes more peaceful. Some people say, "Oh, bro, oh, but people told me I look 25, bro." And it's like, yeah, everybody says that. Everybody says that. Oh, such and such. People tell me I look younger, right? And just because people tell you you look younger actually doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. It's because, again, it's not about looking young. It's not about looking young for your age. It's about time. I must keep stressing this. It's about time and the chapters of life. The pages are turning. It's not about just look young. You know, it's about the opportunity cost of time. As time passes you by, there's certain things, if you don't do in certain time periods, you're never going to accomplish. You're never going to get those things done. You know, you can't just reverse time to live in certain chapters just because you look young. But on average, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end the video soon. On average, most people don't actually age that well. Contrary to believe, oh, you know, people age. Yeah, there are a lot of people who look young for their age. That's true. But most people on average don't age that well. You know, in your late 20s, early 30s, you still kind of can get away. Like I said, most guys don't really peak until their late 20s. And so when you peak, there's a gradual decline. And so really you don't start to really notice until about 35. You know, but the red pill tells you, oh, 40, 45. No, it's about 35 when you really start to get hit. Now, if you have hair loss like me, if you have genetic hair loss, it can hit you a lot earlier. You know, it really can. And depending on your genetics, it can hit you a lot sooner than later. I always tell you guys that it's important to accomplish and do certain things during certain time periods of your life. You know, you can't just magically make up for lost time. A lot of guys are just waiting way too long to start doing the things to carve out a life for yourself, you know? And this is why I'm anti male advantage. I'm anti it gets better at 35, bro. That delusional thinking, because it puts you in a trap, making you believe that you have time, you have more time than you think. So by no means am I, and I want to stress this, by no means am I saying that it's over at 30, bro. I'm not saying that, by no means. And if that's the message you got from this video, then you're just fucking stupid and low IQ. Sorry, I'm just gonna be honest. You're dumb as hell and you're low IQ if you got that. If you taking that away from. And always remember, you can always date women your own age. Don't forget that, guys. I mean, just because you're aging doesn't mean you can't date women around your same age. But I'm specifically talking about the fallacy of being the 36-year-old millionaire who's riding around with college snow bunnies in his car. Like that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that delusion that the red pill and copers often sell young men, that you got time, bro. Just wait, sacrifice your 20s. No, you don't have time. You don't. Life, the chapters are turning. And this video has proved. This video isn't to make guys panic and scare you. I'm not trying to scare you, but as like I said, getting older, there's a lot of good things about getting older. There are some aspects that I feel are often missed when it comes to aging and male aging. And you know, one of the biggest red pill copes is Rollo Tomasi. You know, Rollo Tomasi has that SMV graph where a 40-year-old man has the same SMV as a 22-year-old. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this specifically, you know. I just believe that men need to get real about their options and aging. We got to be honest with ourselves. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. I might make a part 2 video on this. Still got a lot more to say about the age pill, but this video is getting kind of long and I'm kind of tired of talking now. So anyway, that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.